Little Things is written and directed by John Lee Hancock, and it stars Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek. As Coach Boone heads back down to LA to drop off some evidence to a nearby police department, he runs into Freddie Mercury, and they soon realize that the case that Freddie Mercury has taken, involving many murdered women, has drawn some similarities to cases that he has done in the past. Along the lines of this case, they find that the Joker may be behind this, after all. I'm joking, of course. Denzel Washington plays a deputy from a small town police department that once worked in the city, who is now working with Rami Malek's character, who is the detective that is now taking on a case involving many murdered women, and that they're looking to see who the real killer is. Along those lines, Denzel is having a hard time coping with these murders because he seems to draw similarities to a case that he worked many years ago. First and foremost, the acting is pretty good all around. Rami Malek is doing a good job. He's riding off the high that he had in Bohemian Rhapsody playing Freddie Mercury. Denzel Washington is Denzel Washington. You can't really get that bad of a performance out of him. And Jared Leto just, is doing really good at looking very creepy. Now, with this movie, you're not going to get the viral clips that go around from most movies, like Django Unchained involving Leonardo DiCaprio, where he literally sliced his hand while smashing a glass table on the dinner table. Or you're not going to get the Jake Gyllenhaal scene in Nightcrawler when he screams at the mirror and shatters the glass and legit sliced his hand pretty bad as well. There's weird similarities between people slicing their hands and making good scenes. Now, as I said before, the actors play off each other fine. There really isn't, outlandish things happening with them. They're doing good. I would have wished I would have seen more, but maybe that's director's fault. Like, maybe they didn't push them, and that's kind of how I feel about this movie. It felt like the director and the writer didn't really push the boundary on the movie. They kind of felt like, we're going to do it this way, and we're just kind of going to go along with it. And, that's okay. That's we can do that's about as best as we can do today. I don't know if it doesn't feel like he tried to really get something out of some of these people, and that's one of the things with directing. Sometimes it's very difficult to direct certain people. It's very difficult to direct certain styles. It's not the easiest job in the world, but I felt like they could have done a better job at figuring out what can I draw away from this scene, what moment can I build off of, what can I really push the boundaries on, what can I really excel at in this particular moment. Let's jump back to the director who's also written this book. John Lee Hancock did an okay job. I think the script is fine for the most part, and the direction is fine. The pace, however, I will say, is embarrassingly slow. I mean, here's the thing. Erosion moves faster than this movie. And really, that's just kind of a disappointment. Like, you expect crime dramas to have a slower pace, which I'm all for slower pace. You can have a slow-paced movie and do really well with it and have a good payoff and all sorts of things like that. But when your movie is, going along at a pace that I'm checking my watch every 5 minutes almost to be like, man, we're still going along with this, or man, they really haven't moved off of this yet. Like, it's just kind of like there's no sense of urgency at times, which is a big problem with this movie. There's this case involving these women that were murdered now, and similar to Denzel's case years ago, that's why he jumped on the case to help Rami Malek's character. Like, you just don't feel the energy of, I want to solve this case, and I need to solve this case to clear my mind of certain things. You get hints of it, but you never really feel the moment. Also, as we're going along with direction as well, the actual shots in this movie and the actual editing and that sort of technical aspect of the movie is all done well. There's really great shots throughout. It is edited very well. There's a particular apartment scene that I actually really enjoyed. You really felt the moment and you really felt the tension in that. But I mean, the movie is about 2 hours and 10 minutes, and there's only one scene that I could really tell you was really tense and really great out of that time span. And most crime dramas have more than just one scene that you're like, that was amazing, that was good, this, that, whatever. It felt like it needed more. It felt like it needed to do more. It felt like this was coasting along for the most part for the entire time of the movie, which can, be very boring for the most part. I will say this, though, about the script as well. There are a couple of twists at the very end of the movie, and when it first happened, I was kind of caught off guard, and the moment didn't, again, rearing back to these moments that are happening in this movie, they don't feel like larger than life. They don't feel like this is like a huge deal happening. It feels like, oh, that happened. Oh, this is going to happen now. Oh, let's kind of go to this. Like, there's really no gravity to the situation, which is really disappointing because if you have actors like a Jared Leto, like Rami Malek, like Denzel Washington, you expect these moments to be like, oh man, like something legit just happened. And I keep harkening back to, I just don't think that John Hancock really did a good job at writing this towards the end, and I think it was sluggishly paced, and I think it was really just disappointing overall. That's not to say that this movie is like horrible. It's much like Wonder Woman where you had higher expectations. Most people had expectations of, oh, this is going to be like 3 Oscar level nominations on actors alone, because these were actors who were either nominated or had won an Oscar before. And you can tell that like there is a good story in there somewhere. It's much like Spider-Man 3. A lot of people really hate Spider-Man 3, and I'm not one to say that Spider-Man 3 is a great movie, but there is something to that movie where you just have to kind of peel away some of the layers and look really deep into it, and there is something there that you can really take out of it that is great. That's what I feel about the Little Things. Little Things has a pretty good concept that has kind of been told over and over again. I'm not going to fault it for that, though, because for the most part, most of the time, original ideas are really hard to come by. And if you could do an original idea very well, that is fantastic. But if you're doing similar tropes to other movies while doing your own story upon it, then I think that's okay. Small town cop that used to be in the city now working with the new cop in the city that's been told before. But if you can tell it in a unique kind of way in your style and your story, I'm okay with that. This movie didn't really live up to the hype that it was given. With that being said, I'm going to give The Little Things 3 out of 5 stars. I would say if you want to have a tense-ish kind of night with whoever watching this movie, I'd say go see it. I mean, it's not horrible. I won't say it's horrible. I would just say it's underwhelming. I won't even say it's really disappointing. I'll just say it's underwhelming. So, guys, thank you very much for listening to this review. Sorry if I sound a little weird right now. I'm kind of getting over a little bit of a cold, but I will be back with more reviews soon, and I'll talk to you guys next time.